welcome back to the Mirage Podcast for a very, very special episode and edition of something new that we're doing with the show here in 2026. I am sitting here with Faith Alexander, and I'm going to tell you some things about Faith, right? And I'm going to lead up to the most incredible and special thing about her. So we're going to work our way up to that. Faith is a licensed associate counselor with a master's in school counseling, with a postmaster certificate in child and family counseling. She is currently a mental health professional, seeing clients and being a therapist for the state of New Jersey. She has 12 plus years in education as a special education teacher as well, amongst many other things. But most importantly, to me at least, y'all, she's my aunt.
To me too. I wish I could put that at the top of my resume. I'm an auntie to some amazing.
And not just any auntie. That's the thing. So all of the things I just mentioned, that's really just scratching the surface. She's also an incredible and passionate entrepreneur. She is also an Egyptologist. You have heard from her before. I think that was season 2. I'm gonna go double check. We spoke a lot about just the beautiful threads within our family and things that she is most passionate about in regards to our ancestry and what makes us who we are today. It's only right for us to hear from you more often. I have the pleasure of chatting with you as your niece. This podcast is here because of people like Aunt Faith, because of people like my Papa John, and the list goes on. The types of people that are shining so brightly, that are very intentional about empowering others, uplifting others, educating others, supporting others. And there's so many people that just would not be where we are without voices like yours, without stories like yours, without love like yours. And you bring all of that into our lives. And I speak for us when I say how grateful all of your nieces and nephews are for you. I know we are.
All that love. I'm just as grateful. I feel like if you're receiving any of that, I'm getting it back in fivefold. So my life is rich because of that too. And I love you. And I really, literally love everything you do, everything you put your mind to, Ava. I'm impressed by. You're talented and you're giving, right? All of that. I'm like, yes, you're giving. And that's what this podcast is to me. It's like, this is your way of giving back. So
thank you.
I'm here for it.
I really appreciate that. That's how I feel. I'm like, do you need a platform? Here's a platform. Can I put this platform so everybody knows how wonderful you are? Please. So yes, so we're going to be hearing from you more often, which I'm very excited about. So as I mentioned before, each month is going to have a theme. And with those themes, I thought it would only be right to be able to speak to a licensed professional. For Reinvention, Bravery, and Grace, I want to introduce you to some of our listeners and speak on how those concepts are personal to you. So when you hear those 3 words, what are your thoughts on Faith?
Reinvention, bravery, grace, like they're all so intertwined, right? Each one of them needs a little of the other, I think. But it's just hard not to reflect on myself. I'm a human being. I have a path and I've been doing, this living thing for 49 years, right? But I think of the times that I've had to like reinvent myself, maybe from necessity and not necessarily from, a personal kind of growth perspective, but like, oh no, you got to work this, right? Or you're not going to be standing where you want to be. And I just look at like the changes. I'll talk about like career changes, right? When we step into a world, I started as a special education teacher. And I kind of always knew that wasn't like the end of it. I think I could see myself like retiring from special ed, but I don't know. Like I was like, what's this going to lead to? Right. I'm always kind of on that. What's this going to lead to? So like that reinvention after being in the special education classroom for so long and realizing how much therapy I was doing with these kids, right? With these wonderful, just like beings that were in school trying to do their best. And the world was a little stacked against them at times. So I just realized how much therapy I was doing. And that was like, hey, I'm doing that and it feels good. How do I transform that for myself, right? Using where I'm standing. So I went back to school to do school counseling because that was like the closest kind of next step for me. And so I was a special education teacher for 12 years, and I moved into school counseling, and that led to therapy, right? Like stepping out to become a professional licensed therapist outside of the schools. And it took a little bravery. I'm still sometimes wondering like how I did that, or like, wow, could you have done that differently? And I addressed the thought, could I have done that differently? I could have, because we all have choices, but I didn't. So here I am. And now what do I do now? Right? What do I do now? So just that, like, having enough bravery to look at my choices and not be ashamed of them, not be like kicking myself because I could have done it differently. Like, we could have always done something differently. Moving out of New Jersey with a New Jersey license, how am I gonna do that? What's that gonna look like? Luckily, I am with a practice that I love and that has embraced that movement for me and allowed me to be telehealth. Like, I do see my New Jersey clients telehealth, and we worked it out. But I was scared. I was nervous. I wasn't sure what this version of me would look like, living so far away. So I think it has to be personal, and that's how I help people too. As a therapist, of course, I'm hearing about you, but I've been there too. I've been there too. And I think sometimes with therapy, they call it like self-disclosing in therapy. And all of my clients, I self-disclose. I say, "Hey, can you take a little self-disclosure?" And they're like, "Yes, please." And I'm like, let me tell you what I did with that feeling and how that feeling helped me, right? So I think that we have to look at what we're doing. We have to analyze, and just do what's right for us. Do what's right for us, and not be, and then that's being brave and having a little grace, right? Because sometimes we're not sure too. I like to remind people that we don't have to have all the answers all together anyway.
Right.
If you're reinventing anything, whether it's your career or yourself as a person, you're trying to feel differently or do differently, or show up differently, you have the license to reinvent yourself. You just
Mm.
give it to yourself. You got the license for it. Just because you're here. Just because you're here.
When it comes to the time that you spent, working in education and special education, how has the way that you've so closely worked with school age children, how has that shaped the way that you understand and approach change in adults and in your adult clients?
I love That's a good question, because what I remember is that we all were kids once. Like, that never ever is lost upon me. I don't care if I'm talking to someone who's in their, 70s, facing maybe the ending of their life because they have cancer, and they're looking at their future, which is
Mm.
going to be cut short, right? Like, that idea that they're still a kid, and that's how I help them. I remember what that you still had all that hope and all that excitement, that confusion. Being a kid is confusing too, right? So I look at it to draw upon like their motivations. So working with kids and motivating kids. I worked with kids that were not enjoying school, right? They were not enjoying school. If you ended up in my office as a school counselor, something wasn't feeling good to you in that day, in your school day. Or maybe it was something outside of school that was bleeding into your day and you couldn't, get through the day. Um, but it's definitely working with neurodivergent kids or any kids with a disability in school, they weren't like always enjoying all these moments. So I had to motivate them. So I am, as a therapist, I feel like one of the primary things I do is motivate you to find that part of yourself that when you were younger didn't feel very fulfilled, right? Or didn't get what you wanted, what you needed. Don't even get started on, like, the trauma that childhood carries into adulthood for some of us, a lot of us. So just knowing that I saw trauma in children, saw it, worked it, like had my hands on it. Then as an adult, or when I'm doing like family counseling with a family or with a couple, I'm like, hey, this happened. This is real. And I have my eyes on it all the time. It's never far from me. I may not bring it so close into therapy because maybe client's not ready, but I know what it is. And the way that I do therapy, the way that I'm probably what you would call mostly a solution focused therapist. So to be solution focused, I recognize the trauma, then I deal with it here and I make tools and I make like opportunities for that person to deal with this, even if they don't name it. Some people, if you say trauma, they get scared and now something's wrong with them. I don't talk to people or heal people from a place of this is what's wrong. We have to fix it. I heal people from a place of what would you like here in this place? Let's go get it. Right. So I don't hang out in trauma. I'm not saying we don't talk about it, but I don't have to shine the light on it and call it what it was. I just know because I've worked with kids that I feel an injury to your childhood. I feel the injury to 12-year-old you or 8-year-old you, whatever where that injury is. I know it's there. We'll talk about it. If you're not ready for it, I bring you back here and let's work on it because I recognize the injury. You don't have to know. We don't have to have our finger on the wound to know what kind of wound it is, and how to move forward. Some people want to know. Some people have the kind of mind that wants to dig into that. If that's how you reinvent yourself, by looking at the thing that you need to heal with a microscope, okay, because I have clients like that, and I think I've been like that in times. But if that's not how that's going to work for you as a therapist, that is my job to figure out what will work for you. It doesn't always have to be, intense, examination of the wound. This is a wound. Let's heal it. There's lots of ways to heal. Usually, it's by living.
Mhm. What a
We
graceful way to approach that as far as that modality. And I can envision or imagine how many people don't want to speak up on, what that exact experience is, whether it's just because they straight up don't want to, or maybe because they can't because of how terrible something is. Right, right. So to be able to speak to someone who is solution focused, who
well,
knows how to just start present day and keep their eyes on the
that's
future and on how things can get better, that's really
We can
beautiful.
work on that. Not everyone heals the same way. I feel like, there's lots of self-help books out here telling you exactly how to do it. And, just like grief, like there isn't one path. And if you think there is, then you're gonna be very confused when you're on your own path and it doesn't look anything like the path that this person was trying to tell you about. No, like it's gonna be wacky and weird and it's gonna need to look like what you need it to look like. So that my therapy with me does look a bit like that. Like it's what we call client centered. I'm like need centered, what you need to do. And if you're willing to take a walk backwards and we can, name something because we do need to name things in order to address them. But I would just say like sometimes I just say it's grief. You have a lot of loss. So we would sit down and maybe a client that has experienced a lot of loss and maybe there is a wound to their childhood that's related to a severe loss. Maybe it's trauma related to loss. Let's look at loss. Let's talk about loss as a whole. You see how I'm not like digging into the wound to dig into that trauma. We're going to heal because it's a type of wound. It's a loss wound, right? And you need to process that. So it doesn't have to be scary. I think that's what I want listeners to know. Like you don't have to. You don't have to go to therapy and feel like those big deep wounds have to be addressed right now. Just go. Go and talk about what you need and what you want. As a therapist, my favorite question because it's interesting. I never looked at it this way, but um it's the question that I ask clients like early on in early sessions, what's your like best hopes from working with me? What are your best hopes from us working together or starting this journey? And and it is a question I'm automatically in that first session getting them to think about reinventing. What do you
Mm,
want? Not what did you do, not what hurt. What do you want? And they can say, well, I want to to like be different in my relationships. I want to be braver in my relationships. Gotcha. We don't need to go dig into the wound to get there. I can get you there. We can get there. You can get yourself there. So that question is one of hope, which is always one of bravery. If we're talking about hope, there's bravery too. They go together. You can't hope without being brave enough to do that, right? So the way I talk to people about their best hopes for working with me it's 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 essentially that. Like, I'm giving them bravery. I'm giving them this permission to, like, go ahead and reinvent yourself. Let me in on it so I know, because I'm over here as your guide. So I need to know a little bit there, right? But that has so much to do with it. And then having the grace, right? Like, go ahead. Like, we're gonna do this. And I'll be here. And we're gonna do it. And we're taking small steps. So it doesn't have to be scary. I think that's what I hope that people hear. Therapy's not scary, and we don't need to dig into the big things. Let's just do some things.
Mhm. Now, when you mention grace, like there's this crazy tornado of how all these 3 words are intertwined, like you were saying, right? When I think of having to give myself grace because maybe I started operating based on the fear that I had when I was approaching that reinvention, right? So,
Um,
for example, I'm going to start this business. I can lay out ahead of me, here are all the things that I need to do to start this business. But this one thing, that establishing the LLC or that
mhm.
going to a networking event and being confident about what it is that I'm doing, that one thing, the fear takes over and I opt not to do it. So now I'm ahead of that fear and I let the fear hold me back. And now here I am like, well, I have to give myself grace for letting that fear hold me back. I wasn't brave in those moments. I need to be more brave. Like just all of that interconnectedness, like you were saying. How do
Mhm.
you approach when someone is letting fear kind of make the decisions because this whole process is new to them and
Right.
really practicing grace?
I think just to remind people that because you are alive, because you are here, because you are breathing, you deserve grace. It's that simple. We all should have it for others. We should definitely have some grace for ourselves, but it's because you're alive, because you're here, and because we're humans, and we're gonna make mistakes, and we're gonna need some supports, and we're gonna feel uncertain, right? But give yourself grace, allowing them to know that it's just because they're breathing. Like, it's that simple. Just because you're breathing, you deserve grace. We're not. That's it. Aren't you breathing? Yup. Aren't you here? Yup. So then you deserve grace, and so do I. And I think practicing it. I believe that if you want something for yourself, right? And in this case, like, I want to give myself more grace, right? If that's something that anyone wants for themselves, then you better give it to someone else. You have to be in the the business of giving others grace, because you can't give it to yourself if you're not giving it to someone else. It's like kindness. You can be kind to others if you're not kind to yourself. Like, where are you drawing that from? Where's that coming from? So you have to get it, right? To receive it, right? Like, it's a two-way street. And often it's easier to learn what grace is, to give someone else grace, so that you have that story to tell to yourself, right? Like, well, when that person made that mistake, I didn't judge them. I actually supported them. It made me push for them even harder. Tell me that's not true.
Mm,
Don't you push for the person that you see really putting it out there?
mm.
You think highly of them. You send them your energy, like, oh, I'm so pulling for that person. Or even if they had, a year that wasn't so successful. Oh my gosh, like, I want you to do this. Why can't you do that for yourself? Right. So it's like exercising the muscle, right? That gives grace so that you can give it to yourself. And that's good karma. And others will give it to you as well. Like, it's nice when you can feel that from other people too. Like, that other people are like, no, you
And it
you
boils down to being humans and not being machines,
just
correct?
you just humans that are breathing, right? You breathing, then you qualify for all of this. That's my qualifications for kindness, for grace, for permission to do certain things, to rest. Let's not talk about that. Yes, you get to rest. Why? Why? Because you're breathing, because you're here, because you're alive. That's it. That's the qualifications for all of this. It's just that you're human, that you're here. So reminding people that they're human, remembering that you are human, and all the things you're going to do takes some bravery and strength. That means I need to have some grace for myself too.
This next question I've been struggling with. How grace and accountability coexists.
Yeah.
I have been
Questions
struggling
today.
struggling with that within myself
That's a good
showing myself grace, but then also yelling at myself when things are not getting done or perfect or whatever.
one.
And that has been an issue. Yeah, like in regards to other people as well. Like I want to give you grace because of
But you're
people, right?
really
But
mhm.
they don't.
But look at this right here. So this is interesting. When I encounter clients that are like that, because I absolutely want them to have grace and treat themselves with some gentle kind of, just like I said, you're human and this is the process, right? But yes, accountability is real, right? And and it can be too much. Like I have clients that take too much accountability. So I think it's balance. Take a step back, look at your balance, right? Am I just fully, am I asking myself to be 100% accountable all the time, even when I don't feel well, even when I need a break, even when I've worked so long and hard and just need to give myself, like, maybe that wasn't perfect, but like I did my best. I remind myself of that too, um that, and this is part of grace, not the accountability side, but just that all of us, every single last one of us, and I'm not making any exceptions. The drug addict, the the person that's unemployed right now, whatever, right? Me, you, we're all doing our best right now. We're all doing our best. Tomorrow, our best might look different. Yesterday, our best might have looked different. Today, at this moment, right now, while we were taking this breath, we're all doing our best. Even, and that gives, if you learn that I am doing my best, it just doesn't look like what maybe it'll look like tomorrow. But right now, this is what I need. So this is grace. But the accountability side of it, it is balance. You have to see that. Are you holding yourself accountable all the time? Because that's different, right? If you're like, I have to be accountable for every single thing and I have to do it just right, like that's different. You do need to break. So this is where my schedule, I encourage people to be scheduled. um I encourage people to put important things in a place where they can see them, and only hold yourself accountable for important things. Not everything. Not everything. The laundry, I don't know if I'm gonna be accountable for the laundry today. It's on my to-do list, but I don't know if I'm gonna be accountable for it today. So I'm gonna let it go because I can do it tomorrow or I can do it another day. But you know what I am gonna hold
Or
my,
I can do it next week.
or I could do it when I just ain't got no clothes to wear. Oops.
I feel
I'm
attacked.
out of hands. Right. So so you put things down, right? This is why I'm a list maker, and it makes sense to my brain and the rest of me. If I write it down and I'm accountable for it, then I'm going to do those things. It's prioritized. That's all. It's a priority. If you prioritize something, then that's what you can hold yourself accountable to. But you're not going to have a list of 40 things today that you're accountable for. That's not fair. That's not fair. It's wrong. It's flat out wrong. So prioritize it. If put it on my list, and you look, let's do it right now. Like, make a post it. What's my accountability list for this week? That's basically saying what are the major things that I need to do. Some people will call them like important goals, right? But I think you have to be harder on yourself, because important goals, you're like, yeah, okay. If you're like, no, this is my accountability list. This is what has to get done. The things that I will check in on myself for, right?
Mhm.
Laundry's not one of them. Promise it's not. It's not. It's never gonna be. Um, like there's other things that make it to this list of
Yes,
daily things that,
especially when you are a solopreneur. There's the many things
and
that
you're
make
like, I gotta check all those emails, right? If you didn't get to all those emails today, was that on your accountability list for this week because you felt them building and you had to do it? Tax stuff, right? Put that on the accountability list because that is important. But it just it's not. It can't be everything. We have to have balance. Can't be everything. And then like with accountability too, I think that um desire. I never shut out desire. It's actually a common theme in my like therapy. It's something I talk to myself about. Why do I want to do that thing that I'm holding myself accountable for? Where's the why? What's the why? If I don't have a strong why, then guess what? I don't do it. I don't do it if there's not a strong why. And if you're doing things and holding yourself accountable for those things and there isn't a strong why, then maybe they shouldn't be those kinds of priorities. And that's
Mm.
when we have to reinvent what we're trying to do in our life and in our day and what do we want our days to look like. So just like paying attention to that. If I have a hard time doing this thing because I feel like every week I'm like, trying to hold myself accountable to maybe it's like an exercise regimen, trying to hold myself accountable to that. Maybe I don't love it. Maybe I need to pick something else to do. Maybe instead of, walking on my treadmill, I should walk outside. Maybe instead of a class, maybe I should dance. Oh, I might do that. I might want that more. So I think it is about desire and making sure you're doing what is desirable for you. Laundry's never desirable for me till I have no clothes. I'm not desiring doing laundry. And you know what? Okay. I really
I
just scared to do my laundry right now because I have nothing to wear.
I'm sparing all of our listeners' ears right now because the way that you just brought that full circle several times and connected to so many important points, I could scream. That was fantastic. It brings you to that space of reinvention. Is your why strong and desirable enough? And if not, at that point, you need to take a step back and figure out what that why is. That is deep.
Why? Everything we put our energy in should have a why. And if you're like, I'm not doing this and I don't feel a why, there's a why. Like even laundry. I'm being like kind of silly when I say laundry, but it's real. Like, what's my why?
So real.
It's so
Why do I not care that that laundry is still on my bed right now?
I don't care because I don't care. But guess what? If I was having company over, then I would care about that laundry.
Then I
My
would care. And then
why?
it's got
Now I got a why. So it makes sense. Like I'm not saying that the whys are always going to line up all the time. Just be aware that there's whys, and then make one. Make one. The reason why I do laundry, when I do laundry, is because my why is that my Monday through Friday is a bit hectic.
it's insane.
I don't do laundry on Saturday or Sunday, then my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is going to be nutty. That's my why. I need less on my Monday through Friday. So my why is I do it on Saturday and Sunday. Notes, right? As a therapist, we have paperwork, we have notes, and everyone hates them. Every therapist I've ever talked to is like, we don't like this part of the job. I do them when I schedule them so that I don't have the chaos of what happens if I don't. Like that's my why to avoid it. That's a why to avoid
The
something.
why is avoiding chaos. It's
I'm
not
avoiding
because of the notes needed.
because I
I
love
hear you.
right? Desire has there's two sides to it. I can do this thing because I love it, or I could do this thing because I don't like what happens when I don't, or I'm avoiding, right? The nervous feeling. I sleep better on a Sunday night if my notes are done. So do I want to sleep better? Yes, that's my why. I'm gonna do these notes so I sleep better going into, you don't have that Sunday night kind of the Sunday night worries that people get going to work on Monday or whatever. So that's my why. So you just have to think about it. Like stop trying to hold yourself accountable and say, hold on, why do I struggle with this?
My goodness.
I need a why. And it applies to every single thing. Anything you're avoiding, anything that you're struggling like doing, like you gotta find the right why.
I want to shout out my best friend John down in Georgia,
Mhm.
who has
No.
consistently texted me and said, "How can I help? How can I help? How can I help?" And
How
I
can
go,
you
"Yeah," and I'm like, "You can't help. You can't edit these videos."
helpful what he asked though. It's
It
helpful.
is.
Yes, it gives you a
Well,
little
wait till you hear what ended up happening. It all ties together. So I'm like, "You can't edit these videos. You can't email and call the clients for me. You can't help." So I'm like freaking out. And then I really thought about it because he was really pressuring me. And I said, you know, it would be helpful.
for him.
Here's my to do list. Here's a to do list. If you can just text that to me, because, I got ADHD, period.
That's
So if you could just text that to do list to me, whether you text it daily, whether you text it on a random Wednesday evening, whenever you text message that to me, that will truly be helpful. I will need to see it pop up on my phone and kind of interrupt or disrupt whatever else I'm being overwhelmed by that day.
get you
You'll
focused.
help me bring that to-do list into focus, right? And Faith, you just made me realize I just said this to him yesterday. He doesn't have the full to-do list. He has an abbreviated version.
Okay.
It's the most important things that need to get done.
That's okay.
But I just said to him yesterday, I was like, "You know, this ain't even the full list, right?
Yeah,
Like,
like you don't even really want to know what the other one looks like.
there is more." You know what else is on the full list? Laundry. Darn
Yeah.
it. Like, so community and how community can help you show up, how community can just care for you and care for your journey. Tell me about how community has supported you in the ways that you have had to reinvent. You mentioned like moving all the way down to Florida. This is the biggest move you've ever made. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Nope.
And you know, the whole family is still up north, and you know, you got the new house and still managing seeing those New Jersey clients. How has community come into play here?
I need that more than I did before, right? Because I was never too far from my community, and now I am. I'm working on that right now. That is a work in progress because I do need my community. I didn't know. I think I always know how much we need our people, but yeah, I really know it now. So I need to do better for myself because it's hard. It's hard when you got to use the tools at your disposal. My tools before were to just jump in the car and go see everybody, right? Those tools are not at my disposal. I can't drive 1,200 miles. So I'm like, you know what? Zoom calls, right? Or whatever we need to do. So I have to get better at that. But just like finding another community down here too is important. Like coming home to Florida felt in a way like coming home in the big way, right? Like in the home as in like roots and culture. So I feel that and I'm working on that community down here, finding people that think like I do, that love this area of Florida for all of its terrible history, but that it produced some amazing people. Like finding people that think like me in that way, finding the businesses that are trying to grow, right? Like that's my community too. I love my entrepreneurs. I love the women in business. So I'm reaching out and doing that, and I'm finding like people that think like me down here in the state of Florida. That's a little tricky, but I'm finding them. So that part of the community is growing. Like I said, I feel roots here. So even if I didn't, find the people, I know they're here because I feel the roots have been calling me. Um, and since I've been here, they're strong. So it just makes it's part of the why. Your community is part of the why. Um, and it can help, right? Like in this case, just having John text you to like keep something fresh in your head. Number one, I think the most important thing is that he knows that he wants to help and you know that he wants to help. And even if he could only do one little thing,
Right.
it gives you that feeling that you're really not doing this by yourself.
Hmm.
You're really not, even though that to-do list looks long, you're really not doing this by yourself. You might be the one that has to execute those things, but you're not doing it by yourself. That people can support you if you just ask to. So I would encourage you, Ava, to try to think about that too, though. If somebody was to help you, what would you ask them to help you with? Look, now I feel like I'm therapy. If you had someone that could help you, what would you ask them to do?
There is some
I don't know.
laundry on my bed.
John's in Georgia. I don't know if he could do that, but yeah, like sometimes just thinking about it, right? Like just getting a piece of paper and making a wish list. Don't judge it. I do this in therapy all the time. Don't judge it. It's just like a wish list. Don't worry about if it will happen or if it's possible or if it's feasible or if I can afford it. Take everything off the table and make a list of things that you wish you could kind of give to someone else. There might be 20 things on that list, but if you found one or two that actually, hey, you know what? Now that I think about that, that would really help me. And maybe that's something I could ask somebody to do.
So
You know,
now this is really feeling like a therapy session because
it is.
my follow-up thought to what you just said is, I don't want to be a burden to anybody. I'm like,
Oh,
nope,
that,
I don't
so
want to burden anyone. Everybody, here's what I've been saying. This is what I said
looking around.
when we had this conversation. I said to John, everyone has more important things to do than
Says
to help me. Like,
says Says who? There you go, taking yourself out of the running. We do it all the time as humans. Stop assuming. Stop assuming and don't rob. I would say there are two things that I say never ever block anybody's. You're never going to block anybody's blessings, including your own. Don't block lessons. And don't block a lesson, right? If somebody needs to learn something, don't you be the reason why that person doesn't learn the thing, whatever it is. But then another one that I'm going to add is going to be my third. Don't make that decision for anyone. You're blocking a decision. If someone wants to have, I want to help you, Ava, there's a period at the end of that sentence. And then you have, well, you're blocking what is coming. Like this person wants to help. Who are you to take that from them? Because you know what it's like to help and how good it is for you to help. We like to help. There are people out here that want to help. It's not just because you need help. I would help because I'm willing. You take that from them. And now, yeah, that's not fair. That's
You have blocked my blessing.
yeah, blocked like all kinds of stuff. Just
Right,
goodness,
right,
right? Like when because but like I do believe there's like this karmic release when someone does something for someone else. I think there's karma that goes out there. You just rob the world of some of that karma because somebody really wants to help, and you're like, nah, eh. So don't do that. Don't make other people's decisions, right? And that comes with bravery. That's a bravery thing. Be brave enough to let people make their own decisions, whether they're going to say, "Oh, I can't help with that," or "I really wanted to help with that," or "Yes, I can help with that, and I could do more." And you're like, "Oh, I didn't imagine that." Or just making this like that to that girl or guy who wants to ask somebody out. If you don't, why are you robbing that person of the opportunity to say yes? Go ahead, say something. That's bravery. Go ahead, say it. Like, hey, we are really vibing, right? Like, we should take this to the streets or whatever. I don't know how y'all young people ask each other out. I don't know these things. That's what my old behind would say. Hey, we really vibing. Let's take this to the streets. Um, but don't block it. Go be brave enough. Be brave enough to get that LLC. Be brave enough. So for me personally, it's the book. I have a zillion and one books in my head. Why haven't I started? Why haven't I picked up that pen? Why haven't I opened that document with the blank page staring at me and a cursor blinking? Why haven't I done that? um, what, what? Like, what am I waiting for? Why not? Afraid of what's going to happen? No, not really. Well, I do have some of my own fears. And I think this has to do with like our bravery and like our fears of reinvention. I have fears about so I get consumed. I've known this ever since I was a little girl. I am easily consumed. If something is important and I got a big why for it or a big interest in it, I'm interested in too many things, like way too interested in way too many things. If I get interested in something, I get consumed and I forget that there are other things like laundry, eating, sleeping, anything,
Sleeping.
leaving the house. I don't know. Like I know I get consumed. So the
Why
idea
are we the same person?
we're the same. Why are we the same? Genetics. Look, I'm apologizing. I'm so sorry, Ava, that these genes existed in me first. You get passed down to you because
No,
it's a
don't say
fight.
sorry.
It's a fight. It's a fight.
The
It's a
relatability saves my life every
it's a
time. Every
superpower.
time we get here.
It's a superpower to do what we do. But I think that's what I'm afraid. When anyone says, "So why haven't you written this book?" It's not that I'm afraid that it won't be good enough. It's not that I'm afraid that like I don't know that somebody might like it. Go ahead. I actually would love that kind of talk about something that I wrote, right? It's that I don't want to start because I'm going to get consumed. I'm going to forget to do everything else. And I don't know how to do anything half. I don't know how to do anything slow.
Right, right. We can't do anything in portions
Yes.
because what I wanted to say to you, out of care for you, I want to say it's okay, Aunt Faith. Let's just make a schedule from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. every Wednesday. That
Yeah.
is fine. But I also completely understand you. You won't be able
So,
to stop
it'll get
on
both.
Wednesday at 10 a.m.
Or it'll be Friday. I'll be like, I canceled clients because I had to finish this chapter. I get
Exactly.
yeah. And I think it does. I think it factors into ADHD. It's that hyper
I
focus,
agree.
right? That I can get hyper focused. And it's a challenge. So, but I said it, that's part of 2026. That's an intention for 2026, just to like get my ideas more. I'm not going to say I'm going to write a book. I'm not going to say that like I'm just going to get my ideas out.
You
And
know what I just realized? Pardon me while I try to articulate this sufficiently. Is this okay? We should be able to schedule these things, right? And I think that deep down inside, are we feeling like the result will not be good enough if we did not throw ourselves into it 3,000% of the time? 'Cause, what I'm trying to, like, envision is, okay, if we had a schedule and we just worked on a book once a week, every Wednesday,
right.
that book will get done in 12 months'
Yeah.
time, and you
Oh,
will
yeah.
be happy
Oh,
with it, and you will be proud of it, but what is the thing that says, "No, we're not allowed to let it take 12 months, though? Why spread it out? If I could get it done in 3 months and then" you know?
I don't think mine is the I could get it done in 3 months. I don't think I have a problem with the book being done in 12 months or a year. It's not that I'm like impatient for it to be done. It's more in the moment that I don't know if I know how to throw myself out of that. Like whatever it takes when you're writing, whatever it takes when you're in that
No
space.
distractions.
I don't know. I don't know how to get myself out of that again. And I think that is like the hyper focused brain that I'm so deep and I'm dug in. And like, I mean, you see it like these people that don't like, they just order takeout and they don't even change their clothes because they're in this thing. I have that personality and I know I have it. And I'm like, I couldn't do that. Could I? So I told myself that you're going to try. And if you realize that, right, like this is where community comes in. Your community will be like, "Hey girl, did you just disappear?" Ava will be like, Aunt Faith, are you writing? I haven't heard from you. You okay?
Mhm.
Want me send food?"
Have you eaten? How did you know that's what I was about to say?
Nah,
Have you eaten?
what a get to breathe. Come up for air. So community helps us do the things that make us feel like we're scared. Like I'm like, I'm scared to start my book, not because of judgment and not because I am impatient. I think I could bang a good book out in 3 months
I think
if
it's an
I just dove
excitement.
in.
It's an
See,
excitement factor, you
yeah,
know?
yes. And so it goes back to the why. I like that. I love it. I love that feeling that I'm excited to like, wait, let me get this thought down. And what am I going to do with that? And make sure I do that. And now I have an idea. I got to go research it. Now I'm researching it and I love it. And I have to stop that so I can go do laundry. So I can go grocery shopping. Like whose life am I living? No, I'm back here with the
Oh my gosh.
so that's my struggle. That's my struggle. And I would imagine that people that we all kind of have that, right? So I guess it's balance. It's balance. And to know that like I'd have to find my why. I'd have to be like, okay, so the reason why it's important that you piecemeal this is so that you don't become a hermit. And no one use you and you don't get sunlight and then your vitamin D drops and you're in the hospital. See?
This is so crazy. I have thought about community members and friends, and it's like, no, I really do love you all, and I do want to hang out, I promise. But this particular week, I don't want to pull myself away from the laptop, to pull myself away from editing. Like,
So this is balance. This is balance,
yeah,
right? Like you can't. And I'm not saying that we couldn't because part of us is like, oh no, I don't need to eat. What are you talking about? Let me just keep editing. But that's not what we're here for. Um you are here. Your community does stay. I'm not saying that you can't buckle down. I actually have an idea about this. And I thought like maybe when we talk later, like off camera, this idea of doing like deep, you ever heard of like a deep work, like deep work in your day? I'll share it
is
right
that
now.
is
Maybe
it
some
comparable? Is it comparable to shadow work?
No, so deep work in your day is like you divide your day, and there's certain things that aren't deep, right? Like just answering emails. It's not deep.
Not
Um,
deep.
even editing, right? Like I think editing is a task. You got to do it, right? There's a product. There's a product that you're going to finish. If you edit for an hour, you get a finished product. I don't know if that's deep work, but it is a little bit like you can kind of zone out and really dig in. So
Absolutely.
I would call that that might be
Deep-ish. Deep-ish work.
sure like phase two deep. right? And then,
Yeah.
but then there's deep work, which is like the ideas, right? Like I need to brainstorm what next month's, topics are going to be. I need to research. Research is deep. Research is deep work that you can't just do that like in between answering an email. You kind of have to go get lost in some books, get lost in some resources. So what people propose is that you do like an hour of answering emails, just getting back to people, processing, sorting through receipts for your taxes, right? Whatever that stuff is that most of us don't like anyway. You do that for an hour. Making phone calls is not deep work. Scheduling is not deep work. If you're like, oh, I got to get back to this person who wanted me to, shoot their wedding, right? Like that's not deep work. So you do that for X amount of hours. You determine it because some people that could take a lot of time. But then you leave deep work. You got to give yourself the permission, goes back to that, right? I did all that other light work. Now I have 3 hours. I'm going to dive. You can get a lot done in 3 hours. Even if you only had 1 hour, you could get a lot done in 1 hour. And I'm talking a day, an hour a day of deep work where you don't touch your email. You just don't even look at it. Some people change their whole environment for deep work because they don't want to get, triggered to answer a text message or to check their email or whatever. So like separating your work into those categories, and then you go ahead and dive. You don't come up for air for 3 hours. And then you're like, oh wow, yeah, and I get to do this again tomorrow. Then we don't feel like when we finally do dive in that we need to be there for a whole week because I get to do this so I can pick up this thread tomorrow. So it's like you got to schedule your day to look the way you need it to. And you can do that. You can do that. I can too. I have the power to do that. When I was a school counselor, I didn't. I just had to be on the feet and just handle whatever crises walk through my door. But we have that ability, Ava. So let's design our day and see what we need. Does that sound like something I could do? Give myself, you could start with like 2 hours of deep work. And then you do, let me see what I can get done. And if you're like, wow, I'm going to do it again tomorrow, then we don't feel like we have to lock ourselves in. So I'm trying to do that. I'm working on it. I'm working on my schedule and figure out where the deep work is. But yeah, just thinking about what you need. This is also very solution focused, right? Like if you make a space to do the thing that you need to do, that does the job, right? The desire is there. I'm going to use those hours because I've been wanting to do that. And here they are. I've carved them out for myself. I don't need to fix my ADHD. I don't need to fix my ADHD. I just need to figure out how to do what I need to do in the time and the space and the day that I have. I don't need to fix that part of my brain that goes down the rabbit hole. It's kind of a gift and I kind of like it about myself. So I'm going to give it parameters, give that
Yeah.
part brain a way to work every single day, right? Or like however it looks. Some people will take that day on a Saturday. That might be Saturday morning. Saturday morning might be deep work time where you just research and look at your resources and dig into things and ideas and expand on things or like I don't know. So what do you think? We could do this together because I'm on this journey as well.
We should absolutely do that together. We'll choose the days and the times and then recap afterwards.
I was in it all this week and I don't know. Like it's hard because I think it's because we haven't done it before. It's hard because we haven't done it. So here we are.
I've definitely practiced like the level 2, the deep-ish stuff, so I feel like I've gotten a little bit of a kick start in understanding what is required of me in order to accomplish this. So I do feel confident. I feel like I've been practicing it enough to
Okay.
go ahead and dive deeper. So I love this. This feels like I don't know if I should publish this. It sounds like
It's just there.
copyright
Oh my God,
copyright
thank you. Thank you.
trademark. This is amazing. And one of my closing questions, I have 2 closing questions and we'll round out a little bit, but one of my closing questions was gentle, actionable steps that someone can take to practice all 3 of these things. So I feel like in what you just said about deep work and just scheduling the different ways that you devote your time and energy and your attention, that could be an actionable step in terms of reinvention and making change for yourself. How about with showing yourself grace, and how about with being brave? Some actionable steps for those two.
I think, and again, you don't need to jump into it and like, be bravest ever and go make these huge sweeping decisions, but just sit quietly with yourself long enough to know what you want. We don't do that. We don't do that. Um, Sit quietly and think of the thing, right? What and I made the suggestion earlier, Ava, to like get a piece of paper and write down some things. They don't have any don't detach the things that you want in your life from money, right? I can't afford it, so I can't want that. Forget that. Forget if you think you're capable. Forget if you think you have enough letters behind your name, right? Forget all of that and just like sit. And sometimes just getting a piece of paper and writing things down is a good way to do that. And think about what it is that I want, right? And like be clear and don't attach it to what someone else might say or whatever. And then like just knowing that like these are the things that I want in my life. Or right now, I want more peace, right? I want to wake up and have more peace in my life. I want to interact with people that I love differently. I want to whatever it is, like get it out there, right? Write it down, record it, whatever you got to do. Hear it, and then small steps. So therapists help with this, but what would be one thing I'll use? I need an example, and I'll use something like showing up differently for the people that you love. Sometimes like there's a lot to that. That's a big statement. And I'm saying that on purpose because that's what you want. You're like, I just want to be different. I want to be present. I want to be less like, agitated or whatever. I just want to be with the people that I love and feel differently about that time. So you have to like pick one thing. What am I going to do? One step. Am I going to call that person more often? Am I going to like set an intention like to be if I want to be more at peace when I'm with people that I love because I want to receive that, then I'm going to talk differently. What's that going to look like? One thing. I'm going to talk differently. I'm going to uh breathe, regulate my feelings. I just want to start somewhere, right? It's a tiny little step. Then you're going to slow down your thoughts, right? Whatever it is, just one little thing. And that one little thing builds momentum. Like when one little thing happens, I'll say if it's just that you take a deep breath before you walk in the house after work, right? Because sometimes we come home to the kids, the husband, to whatever, and you're like, oh, right? Stand at the door, take 3 deep breaths, then walk in. That takes you 15 seconds of your day. Start there. If you do that, you'll be glad that you did it because it's just a good practice if it suits you. But you have to note what happens, Ava. You don't just breathe at the door and then walk in and like, okay, why am I doing that? Note, oh yeah. Like then after that, I did come in and like I hugged my wife different, or like I hugged my kid differently, or like I made a better choice for myself when I walked in the door. So instead of like going to the fridge and cracking a beer, instead like I sat down and like petted my dog just because I like breathed for 3 minutes before I walked in the door and gave myself a little space, right? So it's the tiniest thing, but it has really big repercussions if you note what that did for you. So make a tiny change and note what it does. This is where I say we got to write things down, right? Write it down. At the end of the day, hey, my 3 minute breathing, I walked in the house a little differently. This thing happened. I didn't reach for a beer. I pet my dog instead. What? You wrote it down. And now it's a thing. What? It's a thing. I'm gonna do it again tomorrow. And we also get a little flood of our brain chemicals. We like those happy chemicals. You get a flood of happy chemicals when you set an intention or set something and do it. Your brain goes, look at us. And you get this
Mm.
flood of good chemicals. So if you tell yourself that you're gonna wake up every morning and make your bed, yeah, it's up to you. I think it's a good thing to do for this reason. You get up and you do that one thing and give yourself a chance to make some happy brain chemicals. And the happy brain chemicals make you do it again. So it really doesn't matter if we don't need huge changes. We need one little thing that you can do and you feel good about yourself and you realize that this isn't, the fight of my life. It's just this moment. What did I do differently?
Right, right. So it sounds like we are reframing that concept of bravery as well. When I first hear that word, it's like, oh, you have to be so brave in order to battle this huge monster, but no, it sounds like we're taking smaller steps to show up bravely in these changes and these
In
new
whatever you identify, right? Like if you're like, I can be brave enough to do that, then you're brave. You did that. You take those 3 breaths. Nobody knows that this is quiet. You're not broadcasting this to the world. This is you telling yourself that I'm going to take this moment. I'm going to take 3 breaths for myself before I walk in the door so that I show up a little differently. Okay. And you're brave enough to do it because you could decide not to. You could be
right.
like, right? But when you make a decision and you decide to do it, you're brave enough to do it. Get good feedback. Your brain will give you good, happy chemicals, but you also just feel accomplished. That feels accomplished, and then that reinforces bravery. Bravery does need a little pat on the back sometime too. Like I did that thing. I was brave enough to not just fall back to my same old patterns. That's bravery too. It's a quiet bravery, but I think that's the bravery that we see more often. Right? I don't see too many people, and I'm not saying it doesn't happen. Huge acts of bravery are always going to go noted by me, but it's that the quiet bravery. Some people, it's just getting out of bed today. They were brave enough to get out of bed. That's you need awards for that. I want to go around giving people awards if that was their moment and they did it. That's just as good as running in the battle.
Mhm.
Same thing, but it's quiet. It's quiet. So little things. Show yourself that you can be brave by picking something small. You don't got to go out here and change the whole world. Change a little
And
bit.
then giving yourself that grace to understand that you are human and you're not a machine. And while we are discussing these strategies on how to make change and reinvent, there is no manual to those things. And if it means that you do need to stay another day in the bed, or if it means that you weren't quite ready to approach your family differently, or these are not changes that we're expecting humans to be able to make overnight, not feeling that guilt or shame if these are things that take time for you to accomplish.
No shame. Like everything happens in measures. Everything. Some people's measures look bigger or faster than ours, but everything's in a measure. And that example of like, just being able to like talk to your family different or having like the bravery to bring up something, a topic with your family or something. There's steps in there. Bring it up with yourself. Make sure you're like thinking about it. Focus on how you feel when you're doing challenging things. And that'll give you the bravery, the strength to go do that thing. All those things matter. All those pre-steps are important. I don't underestimate any part of growth. No part of growth is any more important than the other. People think like it's that last step, right? Like for you getting your LLC, right? Like yeah, yeah, yeah. But before that, there was a million little steps, a million little things that were just as important, or you would have never gotten to that space where
Mhm.
like, okay, do I do this? So all those steps were brave. All those steps were important. All those steps got you where you were. And then you were standing there and you're like, why am I struggling with this last step? I don't know. Cause you got there. Go. Right.
Right, right, right.
That's like how this step is no different than all the others. It's all growth. It all took bravery. It all took putting yourself out on the line. So do the little things and they prepare you for what we would call like the big things. And they're not really that big. It's just another step. But it is. We have to remember that we're brave. Humans are brave. I don't know who held where that all started coming from when we started to look at like huge acts of bravery and we get these awards for things and people get the Purple Heart. Like I said, I am not done. Yes, I'm so grateful for people that go out and do these extremely brave things, run into the burning house, right? To save some heck yeah. That is bravery. But I think people run into their own burning houses every day. And we're okay to talk about that.
Mhm. That's such a beautiful connection and analogy, our own personal burning houses
Yeah, burning houses.
and we have to run into.
Some of
So
them are burning a little harder, a little scarier, right? But we all have a burning house. That's that idea that you don't know anybody's struggle, right? Like you don't know. You can't just pass them by in the street and not you don't know. You don't know that they're literally walking to the burning house as you pass them on the street. Give them
right.
help. Because they're
So true.
Well, this is good
So
topic. Good topics for the new year.
to wrap up, I want to ask you personally if you could speak to the version of yourself that has been afraid of change, what would you tell her now?
It can't hurt you. Hurt
Mm,
you. The things that I want are the things that I want that I think are good for me and good for my growth. And yeah, it can't hurt. A misstep won't hurt. I could eat, a misfire won't hurt. Right? What are you waiting for?
right.
Like, it won't hurt. I've been through stuff. I've been through stuff. I've been through things that scared me, scarred me, hurt me. That this isn't that. This isn't that. The things I want for myself aren't. Yeah. The worst thing that could happen is I'll learn something and I'll come back
Right,
down.
that's what I was thinking, like, this is all progress and growth, this is all a part of becoming that elevated version of yourself.
I have a good story to tell too. I'll be like, so let me tell you about how when I tried to do this thing and now that I know I should have done this, but I did that. And that's the worst case scenario for me is that I might make a mistake. Yeah. Okay.
We're
Learn.
human, we make those.
Yeah, and like I said, a good mistake usually has a good story to it somewhere. So I think I look at it that way. Like, don't be scared, because we all get scared. But yeah, it can't hurt me. I've been there before too. Like that's what I think. Like we can't walk around treating ourselves like we're made of spun glass or something. Like I've been through hurt. Yeah, and I did that. I kicked Hurt's butt, or maybe I'm still kicking Hurt's butt, right? And it's on my shoulders, and I'm feeling it, but I know what it is. Like I can deal with that disappointment. Nobody likes to be disappointed. I've been disappointed before. It didn't break me. I didn't love it. I don't like it. But if that's the worst, all right, it's worth it,
Yeah.
right? A little disappointment, or I could win, or I could do this, or I could publish my own book and be a published author like I've been dreaming about since I was 5 years old. It kind of doesn't like you don't weigh out, right? Like what are you doing? So yeah.
I'm so grateful for you, and we could definitely talk forever. We also have created a really nice segue for the next time that we will hear from you. So, in February, the topic is going to be love and relationships.
That's
We're going to hear from people that are on all different parts of their journey in love, whether it is folks that are single, folks that have just gotten married, folks that are on the brink of getting married, not quite there yet. Um,
on the brink.
yeah, on the brink. We're almost there. Yeah, that's a conversation I'm excited for. I'm still looking for a guest. I would love to speak to a couple that has been married for like 30 years plus and but you just made me think of a book that I have called Love is Letting Go of Fear.
Hmm.
So I think we'll have a lot of fun next time everyone hears from you, next time you and I speak for the show. I'll go ahead and crack that book back open, but we'll be
Yeah.
able to tie in some of these concepts about that intersection of bravery and relationships as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's what's so great. Like all the little webs that keep connecting into all things. So that's like it's all connected. We love our relationships. That's good. That is good. So I will be here for that. I'm excited because that's so couples therapy is my jam. And all my therapist friends are like, what is wrong with you? Because couples therapy is running into the burning building. Like that's what
Absolutely.
why would you ask for that? And you're like, I don't know. It's like virtually, I at least things aren't going to be thrown at me, right? Like, so I'm
Right,
safe
right.
on the street. But yeah, couples therapy is my jam because I like to talk about that. What's like? What do you want with your love life? This is your love life. You're looking at your partner in love. We want, right? And they're like, I don't know. So
Right.
be brave. Be brave. Talk about it. It's yours. Shape it. What do you need? So yeah, that'll be good. I will let you go. I don't want to take too much of your time. I
You're
already
fine. No, thank you for your time. I'm very excited. Thank you for agreeing to come on more often
will text you.
and help me change the world one bright shining light at a time. In closing, I feel like there were a lot of beautiful concepts that we just touched on, and I do want to be more interactive with everyone who is listening. I know Spotify has a comment feature, or I can place a poll on our Spotify page for the Mirage podcast, as well as being interactive on all of our social media platforms. We drop the full episode on YouTube, so of course you can comment, like, subscribe, etc. But all of the but also everything that we drop on social media. Feel free to comment, to DM. There was a great question that came up for me while talking to Aunt Faith just now. And I believe it was in regards to community and showing up for one another. I definitely want to hear more from folks about how community has shown up for them or how they have been sure to show up as an influential and positively impactful community member. I would love to hear ways that someone truly helped you to move ahead. I know I mentioned that Jonathan is simply texting me my to do list, and that sounds so minute. It sounds like it doesn't have a huge impact, but I'm telling you, it does. The way my ADHD is set up, when that text message hits my phone, no matter when it hits my phone, it takes me away from whatever else I'm being consumed by and forces me to lock in on my progress with that to-do list. So even though to John, he's just copying and pasting a message and helping me keep that list updated, for me, it is a huge factor in feeling successful either day by day or week by week. So this is my way of not only saying thank you so much, John, but also just to drive home that something so simple, showing up in a small way, can truly mean the world to someone, right? So, who are your people? Who's showing up for you in a small way that makes a big difference in your life? I definitely want to hear more about that. Shoot, I might invite some of those people onto the podcast. So let me know who it is, okay? So that we can highlight them and so that we can amplify their voice, so that we can magnify their lights. This is Ava. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for listening. I am signing off. We will see you next week.